Hello, my name is Sergio Tita, and today I'm going to show you Cubase Pro 14, how it works and how you can actually create a project. Now, I do apologize in advance for how you hear my voice in mono on just one channel. It's just the routing, it's a bit odd as I'm using free software to record the screen and the audio coming out of Cubase. Cubase, it's a bit more difficult when it comes to do screen recording. It doesn't allow any software to do, so I kind of use a routing process by taking the audio out of Cubase into a virtual meter and then exporting it into another software that records the screen. So let's get started. Now, there are multiple options when you open Cubase. So you can set up the project for scrolling, recording, production, and mastering. Now, let's say, for example, if you choose a template for, let's say, Neo Soul, you want to create a project like that. You just click on Create. It will open a prompt location by having this instead of default. The default, you will just save the project where's the default location, where the prompt project location allows you to save where you want to save the project. So let's say Cubase projects, new folder, it's perfect. So I'm just gonna select the folder and this will create new project with a template, and it will automatically give me drum machines, channels for recording, presets already pre-activated, and everything. So as you can see, I have a drum machine here already, and I can record like pianos, organ, flute, bass, everything. So the best way is not to use like a preset on this, is to go with the blank project in blank everything, just to give you that control over everything that's going on to the project. So I'm just gonna close this up. Now it also allows you to open recent project that you work or created. So let's use the example from the previous that I used for task 1. So if I click on open, it will open me the previous project. Just give it a second. It's just that I have a lot of VSTs and plugins in there installed in my main PC. So I'm using a Windows, so depending on what type of PC, if you're using a Mac or a Windows, it will be different shortcuts. So the first thing that I want to do when you create a project is to go to project and project setup, or you can click Shift plus S. This will open up a window where you can set up the video time frame. If you're working with video, you can set up the sample rate, the bit rate, and the recording times such as WAV, FLAC, AFF file. There's the section here where you can add an author and a company. Now this helps you if you work with a third-party producer, and if they release the project without your consent or approval, then you can take it to the court of law, because this information will appear in the project when you export as a separate project, or into the audio file when you export the audio file. So it kind of saves you not to worry when you're working actually with somebody else's third party. Okay, so let's say my project is blank, there's nothing here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna remove these files, these channels quick, by just right click on it and then remove selected channels. So the second step what you want to do is the audio setup. Normally I will have here in audio setup, I will have my external hard drive complete audio AOC driver, but due to the routing that I'm doing to screen record, I'm using the Steinberg built-in ECO driver. Now when you click, when you select actually your audio drive, yeah, you just pre-add it into a normal audio setup. Now I'm gonna show you a trick. Now your audio setup is, you go again to studio and audio connection. Now you normally gonna have it here selected, input and output. Now what you can do, if you're using like myself an audio interface with multiple outputs and multiple speakers, you can actually create a virtual control room. So in here just click on create, add monitors. For example, let's say monitor test. So by having monitor test here, I can select, let's say, first channel, second channel, or third channel, or fourth channel, depending what type of monitoring do you want to do. For the time being, I'm gonna remove it because I already have it set up. Now this helps you here in the right zone where you have a virtual control room. Now with just one click, I can switch between stereo and mono when I'm reviewing an audio in Cubase, and I can switch between my monitors, which I use KRK and Auratone. I use multiple speakers to just to review the sound when I do mix and mastering for myself or other artists. But at the moment it's kind of disabled because not using that, since I'm not having connected my normal audio interface just so I can record the screen. So right zone, you have the control room, you have an overall metro which is the master itself. Now after the project is set up and the audio interface is connected, if you want to work with a guitar player, let's say for example they want to record a guitar, you just have to create an audio channel. So you have two ways creating the audio channel. You can right click and hit audio channel. This will bring like a small pop-up window that creates just the audio channel. You can select the input of it, the type of configuration, if it's like mono, stereo, 5.1, ambisonics, 3D. There's a lot of configuration coming with Cubase Pro. But you can also select the output coming with it, the name, and let's name it S, and the number, how many channels you want to add. Let's say if you know you're gonna record around 5 different guitars, so you just hit add and that creates the channel itself. Now in order to record, you have to have the record button enabled. So let's say if this is disabled, it's not gonna record, so you have to have it enabled, and when you start to play you hit record and it will record the audio. Obviously it's not gonna record my audio due to the routing that I did, just so I can record the sound coming out of the Cubase. Another way to add channels, let me just remove them. If you want to remove, you can select one or select multiple ones by just having the key shift pressed. Then you click right and remove selected channels. Now you can add another channel, like just hitting the plus button, and then you can choose, do I want an audio channel, do I want an instrument, what type of VST do I want to use from my DAW or drum machines. Is it a DAW machine incorporated with my VSTs or DAW, MIDI files, any type of file? Same process, name, configuration, input, output, and number of the channels. Now let's say let me just create one audio channel fast. I forgot to mention one thing. So if you're working with an artist that wants to hear itself in headphones while they record, so there's not any leakage for the sound, what you need to do, you need to have this monitor enabled. Now what this button does, it will send the signal into the headphones of the recording artist. Right. Now let's say you're more like me, an electronic producer. So you deal a lot with audio samples, with MIDIs. You don't really have access to artists who can actually record for you. Now, before starting to the project, let's set up the BPM for the track itself. So what I'm gonna try to do today, it's more like of a minimal tech house song. So I know for sure I'm gonna use the BPM of 124. This will allow all the project itself to follow that BPM 124. Now if you don't want to follow BPM, you like creating like a mad jazz song that the BPM and tempo it's all over the place, you hit here and you can make any tempo or BPM in the project itself. But I know I'm gonna do this. Now with MIDI tracks, there's two options. One, you can drag and drop a MIDI that's pre-done, and this will create a file that will assign a VST itself and other routing, everything like that. But I don't like to do that. I like to choose my sounds when I'm creating the MIDI itself or when I'm importing. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna delete this and just gonna hide the folder itself. I'm gonna delete the rest of them. So what I want like to do is to choose the virtual instrument before. So I know I'm going for a techno house vibe, so I think Serum I'm gonna use. So you can enter Serum here in the right zone and select the sounds, or you can drag and drop. So if I drag and drop, it will create a MIDI channel itself. Now to open the VST itself, you just click on here and it will open. If you want to replace it, you drag another virtual instrument just so the arrow it points in the middle, and this will change the VST instrument, right? Now I'm gonna stick to my Serum. Sorry for it's popping up on a different window, but just because I have multiple screens. So I know I'm gonna use Serum. Now I want to use a MIDI that's done by a different artist. It's already exported of the project for me to collaborate with him and make a new project. So what I can do, I can drag and drop the MIDI to the virtual instrument that I created, and it's gonna add that virtual instrument. So let's say I want to change the sound to it because I don't really like that sound. You can either go back to the beginning because this is more like the routing how the individuals did it, or you can change the virtual instrument by here. You click on it and you select a different type of instrument. Let's say for example, I like the original sound of the MIDI that was previously created by the artist. So I'm just gonna remove this and add it as an audio file, as a sample. So what I can do the same, drag and drop, it will create the channel. Now the pop-up windows is very important. What this does, shows an option here, copy to file project. Now this is very important to have it enabled. So what it's going to do is going to copy the audio file from wherever it is in the driver into the folder where the project is. So if you ever move like audio from different folders, you will mess up the project. But because I have a copy in here, you will not mess up my project. Okay, so adding the audio file, let's see how it sounds. Obviously here is the lower zone where I can view the audio itself, edit it, warp it, whatever you want to do with it. You can also have a mixing console so you can monitor how loud it is. It's going almost to the limit. Let's just put it a bit downer. Now let's say, okay, I like this, so what can I do? You can add, let's say for example, drum machine, groove agent, and let's select the kit here first. So okay, looks like I haven't updated my Cubase for a while and it's acting up a bit. Okay, so let's say I want to use this kick. What I can do, I can actually draw here now, and if I go to it, if I want to draw much, if I want to see the entire screen and draw itself, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna enlarge the window. So now that I have enlarged, I can draw itself here, but with drum machines it's a bit different. There's not a specific area where you can actually draw and we'll get multiple sounds. So I'll draw it here. I'm gonna change the velocity as that one shows the velocity of the sound and hit X on it. Now let's say I have a MIDI kick. That's interesting, but it's not right at the beginning. So just using a small window, I'm gonna drag it here. Gonna make it a bit smaller. And now I can have a kick on my song itself. So by just clicking here and dragging, you can actually duplicate the sound itself, or you can have them selected and Control D and duplicate itself. So let's say D, 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 Control D, the audio sample itself of the bass. Not sure how long you're into the minutes, or to keep count, let's say you want to make like a 2 minutes project, but you're on bars that easy to change. Just double click here, right, and you can time code sample seconds. So let's say time code, so we're going to around 2 minutes. So now I know exactly how I can make 2 minutes of a song. And changing back to bars, which is the preferred way for all producers to work. I can cut audio and MIDI by just click writing and selecting the scissors, or over here. So if I'm gonna zoom in, yeah, this is where I wanna finish the song. So you have here bar beats in using quantize. The way how the zoom adapts, I use it to adapt the zoom because I can zoom in and out as much as I want to. So this way I can control how much I view, and it will show me all the bars in the project itself. Now I set up the length for 2 minutes of a project. I have the bass, I have the kick. Now what else can I do? Say I want to have some hats. Now you can either use audio files or samples, record drums, or you can actually even import sounds from inside Cubase, such as one hits of hats or other stuff. So you can also have your entire library imported, but that's a different, more complex process. So you need to import them first, but I'm gonna use what's standard in Cubase. So if I use an audio file from Cubase, just go on here on the right zone, click on media and go to sample and loops. So I have here a few options. Not really sure what exactly is into them, or if I like them or anything like that. So you can actually search in here for the type of sound that you want to use. So let's say hats. Ooh. So the fun part is, you see this window here, you see this button here, autoplay when new result searches, and there's another one, wait for the projects play. So you can place when the projects wait for the project to play, or this one actually says if it's like a longer loop, it's set to follow the same BPM as the project. So let's say this is a kick, dun, 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 and it's a different BPM. But by having that enabled, what it does, it follows the same BPM of the project. But I'm just working one shot samples from the project now itself. So I'm just gonna drag this. So you can drag it here or here. I prefer to drag it here. So let's add some hats to it. Now that I created this, I can duplicate all around the project. Since it's a tech house minimal, it kind of runs the same way all over. But I'm gonna do some interesting techniques sooner with these hats. So left side, what is on the left side zone? So this is an interesting part on the left side zone. So you have here volume, panning, mute, solo, read and write. So I'm gonna show you what read and write actually does. You also have it here. So first thing is to write. Okay, so by writing it, you tell Cubase itself, look, I want you to lower there. It's like a similar to, it does like an automation, the write itself, but this write works on all the plugins, all the VSTs, all the audio files, editing, warping audio. It's a major button in all the functionality around Cubase. So let's say, okay, I want you to write, and let's take it. Level and panning. I need to, since I already did this part, I'm gonna disable write because it's gonna override what I did. So I'm just gonna leave read. So now it's gonna follow the same. Now, okay, that sounds good. Sounds interesting. Okay, what else can I do with this? So, I like the automation of it, but I also want to work on some of the post-production of it, such as audio, such as delay, reverb, and all that stuff. So, like I said, you have a mixing console here. The free zones I put all of them are customizable when you want to view them. So let's say the project gets bigger and you want to see what's here. Here you can disable and enable the zones, so you can enlarge the project to view much more better. Normally I keep the lower zone off just so I can see all the elements in the project, but you can also view the mixing here if you don't want to go to the mixer window. So if you want to go to the mixer window, you just click studio and mixer console. Now you can open up to 4 different mixing console and view different things and send them to different actually PC monitors all around the place. Say you have a massive studio, multiple recording rooms, so you want to send the guitar to view his level, you can send drums to view this level. You can totally do that, but since we're working on just one room and recording for training, like a training purpose, how to use first time Cubase, I'm gonna use just one mixing console. So sorry, pop up on, I have multiple screens, so it pop on the window. So I see here I have the hats. Now sometimes this writing gets overlooked and you forget what it is sometimes. So if you want to rename a file, you just double click here and say hats, shift and enter, and that will rename the entire file. If you don't have shift and enter when you're finishing writing the file itself, it's just gonna name the channel and not the file. See? But if I have hats, sorry, my spelling, shift and enter, it changes the entire file itself. So going back to the mixing console, like I said, the writing and reading, it's a plus. Now if you wanted to add a plugin such as delay or anything on the channel, let's make this bigger. So you click here on E and this will show you exactly, that's how it comes the standard. You can view the spectrum, you can do EQ without actually adding any external plugins into it. But let's say I want to add a reverb. Let's go with Revelation. So let's see how it sounds like this. But guess what? I can read and write also on this one. So let's say 0 mix from the beginning, and then I start the project, I click on write, stop. Now disabling write. Now also have an automation for the plugin itself, which is quite cool. See, so you can have multiple automations. This is for the reverb itself, panning, volume. If this gets too messy, too many, you can actually hide them. If you want to keep more like separate a folder where to hide like the audio samples and where to hide the mixer, you can totally create like a folder. Let's say folder, say drums, where I usually like. So in drums I can add this, drag it and drop it into a folder. What else can I add? The kick from Groove Agent. Now when you have a lot of channels in all over the place, if you do it like this, it hides those channels, but it still plays them. So we did some automation for hats. What I can do, I can select them and just duplicate them again. Go again here and duplicate them. Go again like this and duplicate them. Now I have automation to the hats. So this started to sound more like house, tech house, minimal song itself. Okay. Normally songs also needs like a after lifter, down lifter, an effect or anything like that, vocal chop. So gonna use some audio samples to do like a vocal chop. So I'm gonna drag and drop a vocal chop in here just for recording process. Ooh, I like that. But what I'm gonna do, key. Lower the volume on it. I'm gonna add, yeah, sorry, I forgot to explain. If you click here, E, edit channel setup is gonna show where you can actually add the plugin. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm not gonna use some panning for it. Panning. Auto panner. That's what I'm looking at. So I'm gonna job the panning from left to right automatically. Okay, let's add this all over the track as a basic minimal tech house track. Can also duplicate it by dragging this button over here. Now you can add to the audio samples fade in and fade out of the sound. So let's say I want the volume to come down, somewhere around here to get lower and lower. Okay, now all it's missing is some sort of instrument from somewhere there. You know, you just the instrument itself. So now I'm gonna use the MIDI because I'm not sure exactly what key is in this track. So I'm gonna drag the MIDI itself. I'm gonna drag the MIDI itself. Let me add first an instrument. Let's say, for example, Serum. I'm not sure where exactly Serum is here. You can actually search it here. So, ooh, here we have Serum. Drag Serum in here. or you can enter it. If it's a plugin that comes with Cubase, you can actually view the sounds if you just enter it. I don't remember if I explained this. You can actually change the plugin itself. You can drag a different plugin, or by just going on here, just click on there and it shows. What else can we use? Silent? That sounds normally good. So this silence, I'm keeping to have a clear window on the recording window. So the silent, and now I'm gonna drag and drop the MIDI file itself. Okay, so I'm not gonna use all this messy part, how the MIDI was ported out of the third party producer. So I'm gonna delete these files. Come on, remove them. And add serum again here. Now I can see the MIDI itself. So I'm gonna enlarge the window how the MIDI looks. So when you click this button, it's gonna pop up a bigger window. Now there's a new thing that you like. So let's say you don't know exactly how music theory works, or if it's in the right key. So you have here where you can actually set up the keys. So it's a C, a major. So let's say if you're not sure if you're gonna draw in the correct one, or if you're in the right key, you can go like say minor. So let's say C. No, that's not correct. So if it was the correct key, it would be green. So D, no, E, ooh. So it's D sharp minor key, the project itself. Okay. Now now that I know the key, I know exactly how to go and improve the project itself. So let's say, where am I? Here. So let's say I want to pick something else. Something else. Hello Sonic. This is stock plugin. I'm gonna pick synth leads, all of them. Just gonna load the sound into it. Ooh, I like how this sounds on the keyboard, on the MIDI keyboard. So I'm gonna use this one, but we know this is bass MIDI, so we want to go higher. So if you want to go higher an octave without moving and messing all around, just select them all, shift the arrow up, and you go higher an octave. Let's say it's okay, I like it. Let's do some random velocity to sound more natural. That's how I change the sound, how the velocity works. Now if you wanna like improve it, do more without music theory, so you can either draw or click on it. But what I'm gonna do, because I already know that it's like this, I'm gonna do now I have a lead on it. this, but don't really like the sound of that lead. So key. Okay, we're getting close. So we can evolve on that one. So okay, I like that. Gonna copy that. Now gonna duplicate it. Change the instrument on it. Color synth. Sounds interesting. Now so because it's a MIDI recording, it got a bit longer at the end, so I'm gonna edit that so it follows the exact bass. So I'm just gonna select them and drag it here at the end to make them that correct size. Now Control D to duplicate. Search for a loop. Clap. Now this is what I'm, you remember when I said this will follow my BPM, so listen to this. So if I don't have the link project tempo here, it's not gonna follow, but this allows to follow the project itself. And just because I have this allowed to follow the project, if I drag it, it's gonna set exactly how it perfect should be into the project itself. So I'm gonna duplicate again, and let's make it sound more like a song itself. So delete this one, this one, this one. This one. you go, we have a new full song. Okay, so if you want to export the project, you have to have these markers. This marker helps you when you also, if you want to like loop stuff, so you have to have them showing like this size. If you have it the opposite, what it's gonna do is actually gonna jump. So you want to have it the opposite when you see it like purple. So this help you also to loop, but if you wanna export, this will select the parts that you're gonna export. So I'm gonna select it like here, disable the loop, or you can enable like this. So now I'm gonna do one thing just because I didn't do any mastering to it. So I'm gonna add a limiter, brick wall limiter, just to keep it not peaking too much. Okay, so to export, select the start and the finish. Okay, then file, export, audio mix. You can select export it as stems if you can give it to somebody to remix it, or just a single file. You can select an MP3, wave, FLAC, whatever you want. Here is where you name the project. Let's say Tech Minimal, and this is where you want to when you're gonna choose the location of the folder. But I don't want to choose a different location, because you know what it does here, it saves into the file project folder. This creates another folder which is named Mixdown, and I know exactly where it always is when I export it. It exports directly into the project folder itself, into a different folder named Mixdown. Say, okay, now I'm gonna rename this Sergio Minimal Tech. Minimal Tech. That's it. Hit export. This will export the project. Let's save the project before exiting. I'm gonna name it free final, so we don't lose the project and all the work that we did. Oh yeah, the way to save project is just file, then save. Save, we'll save it. Let's say the first project name 1, it's gonna save, continue save it on 1, continue saving on 1. But you want to go save as, so you can add a different version to it. So if you messed up the project, you can go backwards to the previous project. Okay, so it's the MIDI. Let's go to my project files. So this one, Mixdown. Okay, so so perfect. We have the file itself. Thanks for watching. Hope this helps you to get started on your first song to do in Cubase. Doesn't matter if you're a performer or not, Cubase will help you a lot with music theory, with sampling, with synchronization, and automatization on it.